Shine Brighter, written by Sunshine. Chapter 3. People Are Strange. See, isn't this fun? Trixie laughed gleefully as she reached into her small box of overpriced cinnamon nuts. Adagio chewed on the cotton candy in her left hand, thinking about her response. Aside from the cost of some of this stuff, I can see the appeal. Trixie giggled and playfully nudged her date. Yeah, okay, whatever. I guess that roller coaster wasn't that fun, huh, Miss Screams of Joy? Adagio haughtily justified, unconvincingly. You mean that death trap? I was concerned for my safety, given how hastily put together it was. Sure. Act like I didn't see you smiling before you put on your tsundere face. Adagio let out a half-laugh, half-scoff as she asked, What does that even mean? Admit it. You act like you're sour lemonade, but really, you're sweet as candy. Adagio opened her mouth to make an innuendo referencing her taste, but the words never came. The blue girl leaned in to plant a quick kiss on Adagio's yellow cheek, causing her to lose her train of thought as her face got warmer. Trixie teased. See? You're turning into pink lemonade. Shut up, you. Adagio cringed at the crack in her voice, causing the red on her face to intensify. Trixie mused out loud. You're right. It is so much fun to see pretty girls getting flustered. Adagio returned Trixie's playful nudge, but her right hand was invaded by Trixie's hand, so she squeezed it tightly. She was slowly getting used to such human displays of affection. Many things about this human world made her feel alien, but this new feeling of being happy and friendly with someone was pleasant, in a sense, mostly due to the absence of irritation, anger, and impatience. Adagio enjoyed Trixie's company, and the elusive, genuine happiness that came with spending time with the only human she could stand. An annoying, trilling sound started playing from her pocket, causing Trixie to withdraw her occupation of Adagio's right hand so it could fish the phone out of her pocket. With a heavy sigh, Adagio silenced her alarm and allowed the defeated dread to creep into her voice. Looks like the fun's over. Trixie looked very disappointed. Do you have to go? Cooing affectionately, Adagio reminded her date. I gotta make some dinner and go to bed early for my opening shift. Sorry, Chicks. Trixie smiled at the affectionate nickname and retorted, It's okay, Daji. I appreciate the little time I got to spend with you. Adagio chuckled. It's been like 5 hours. Melodramatically, Trixie gave a theatrical pout. 5 hours is not nearly enough time for Trixie to spend with such a dazzling beauty as yourself. Careful, Lulamoon. You almost sound like that one overdressed girl with the purple hair. You take that back. Trixie is nothing like a rarity. Even as she feigned a sneer at the name, Trixie couldn't help but smile through the teasing as she pulled herself closer to Adagio. Playing along, Adagio retorted, All right, I didn't mean it, oh great and powerful Trixie. Trixie leaned in for a kiss, which Adagio passionately returned, only to break away briefly to playfully comment, Those cinnamon nuts don't taste half bad. With a brief giggle, they locked lips again, seeming to both get lost in the kiss. They each kept pulling away, only for the other to press back into the kiss, making it borderline too much kissing. With a breathless chuckle, Adagio put an end to the gratuitous smooching. Okay, kissy face, we're in public. And I gotta go so I don't end up snapping at a mouthy customer tomorrow. Text me when you get home, okay? You got it, babe. With one last quick peck on the lips, Adagio pulled away from Trixie, waving to her as she started walking towards the carnival entrance. Looking behind her, she saw Trixie stand there, still waving with an enamored, goofy smile on her face. She seemed to be lost as to what to do now that her date was having to leave early. When Trixie was no longer in Adagio's line of sight, she stopped checking over her shoulder and finished her cotton candy on the moderately long walk home. The evening sun had set by the time Adagio returned to the van. Aria was lying on the couch, staring at her phone, only briefly looking over when Adagio opened the door. You've been out a lot lately, Aria remarked plainly. I don't get how you can just sit in here all the time, sending a text to Trixie, She put her phone in her pocket. Arya shrugged. Nothing better to do. Not all of us have girlfriends, you know. A bit defensively, Adagio snarled. What? Gonna tease like Sonata just because I can get a first date? Arya rolled her eyes. Nah, honestly, kind of glad to see you hanging out with someone who's not us. No scheme to get back to Equestria, or steal magic. I know Sonata still hates it here, but me? Arya shrugged again, as she frankly stated. Honestly, getting back to Equestria, it stopped being appealing a long time ago. Adagio shot her a look, prompting for more. So Arya sat up and set her phone to the side. It's just, even if we did get back, then what? Little Miss Pony Princess shows up, friendship, rainbows. We end up right back here. Or worse. Adagio shuddered, recalling T-Rex fate. Tartarus. Discord, Arya corrected. An image of her and her sisters as one of Celestia's lawn ornaments flashed in Adagio's mind. Knowing that made it pretty hard to give it my all in those schemes. Besides, we have it pretty good here. Filling a pot from the 5-gallon cooler of fresh water, Adagio started making some cheap instant ramen on the propane stovetop. Although the three of them worked 40 to 50 hours a week each, the bills and cost of gas, bottled water, food, and hygiene-related expenses, like laundry, ate away at their paychecks. If they never moved the van, a full tank could last a week or two. But their home still guzzled away their savings. Still, they managed to survive autonomously with no fixed address, off the power grid, cramped in a van together, with a bed that they rarely ever had to share, and a couch that Arya found comfortable anyway. Perhaps, even living in poverty in this world was preferable to imprisonment or worse in Equestria. Arya's next musing was far less profound, as she returned to staring down at her phone. At least this world has scuba diving and submarine videos to kill time in between shifts and sleep. Adagio let out a wry chuckle as she added a cheap herbs and spices mix to the noodles and broth. Homesick, are we? A little more somber, Arya asked. Land is cool and all, but don't you miss the ocean? Just a little bit? As the silence hung in the air, neither of the sirens looked at each other, doing everything they could to avoid eye contact. I miss the quiet, Adagio said, turning off the stove and leaving the pot to cool. No engines or car horns or police sirens, just the flowing currents and whale songs. I miss looking up and seeing the stars above the waves. She took the boiling pot off the hot plate and held it there, looking out of the van's rear window at the starless sky, rendered black and empty by the glow of the city lights. Heh, no sirens, huh? Arya humorously emphasized, as if joking. Adagio felt a pang in her heart, but she kept speaking as seriously as before. Hey, just because you and Sonata drive me up the wall, that doesn't mean I wouldn't be happier without you two. Being stuck here with you both may be Tartarus, but being stuck here alone would be like being banished to the moon or something. Arya looked up from her phone, meeting her older sister's eyes for the first time since she got back from her date. Adagio could see she was searching for something in her expression. Are you okay? Right. Her sisters weren't accustomed to expressing feelings so openly, and sororal affection was something that was more alien to them than whatever she felt for Trixie. Adagio being this vulnerable with her male sibling was probably perceived as a joke at Arya's expense. It seemed they were becoming human in two completely different ways. Not shying away from the awkwardness, Adagio took a deep breath before pleading. Deep down, you know that I love you, right, Arya? That made Arya blurt out a laugh. You're serious? Damn, Dodgy. That girl really is changing you. When did you become human? Rising from her seat on the couch, Arya walked over and hugged Adagio, catching her off guard. In the most insufferable voice she could have managed, she mockingly exclaimed, I love you, big sis. Already regretting this whole conversation, Adagio deadpanned. All right, that's too much. She tried to push Arya away, but her sister's grip around her was strong. Arya teased. Come on, I thought humans hug it out all the time and say I love you a bunch. Squeezing harder, she started laughing mirthfully, something else that was alien to their siren ears. Adagio eventually stopped fighting and hugged back with a furrowed brow and the faintest curve of a smirk on her face. "What the hell?" said Sonata, who had just stepped up to the van's door, holding a hand up to her mouth as she swallowed to avoid choking on her food. "Someone slip a love potion into your ramen or something? Why are you two hugging?" Arya, trying to spread the misery to her youngest sibling, pulled away from Adagio and smugly explained, "We're sisters. Human sisters hug and do this mushy stuff. Come here." Sonata was pissed, trying not to drop her taco as Arya pounced on her to pull her in close. "Just because we look like dumb apes doesn't mean we have to do dumb monkey shit." "But I love you, baby sister." Adagio was torn. On the one hand, she was annoyed by their antics, as per usual. But on the other hand, she did like the thought of taking out her aggression through a sickening display. She moved to Sonata's side, pulling both of her irritating sister sirens into a death-grip hug, causing Sonata to wheeze in protest. Commendably, she kept her taco in hand, with minimal lettuce spilled. "Have you both been replaced by changelings or some shit? Let me go." Adagio cackled. "Like it or not, you're stuck with us and all this dumb monkey shit." "I hate you both," Sonata said, defeated. "We hate you too, Sonata." Adagio went for something closer to the truth. "I love you both, you pains in my ass." Adagio's emotions churned like the water sloshing against the glass. Trixie held her close, as they watched the blue tang and clownfish frolicking amongst the artificial coral interspersed with anemone. Trixie was clearly less entranced by the sight of marine life, but she seemed to be enjoying herself. Since Arya just had to make her nostalgic, one of Adagio's only outlets for this longing for the ocean was to go on a date to the local aquarium. Trixie seemed open to the idea when it was suggested, but she was clearly just a casual observer when it came to the aquatic wonders and maritime novelties. She seemed to be content with spending time with her date, and Adagio was thankful for her presence, as it kept her mostly grounded as the presence of salt water beckoned her. The next section was a narrow hallway of glass, submerged beneath an expansive tank, where all manner of beautiful fish were on full display. As they were walking, hand in hand, through the low lights of the dark corridor, Adagio pulled them to stop, as something in the tank caught her eye. "Huh?" Trixie stopped and turned to see what she was looking at. Adagio had no comment, staring at a trio of fish swirling around one another. Seahorses, one purple, one light blue, and one with gleaming orange scales. It took Trixie a second to follow her girlfriend's gaze, but she soon joined Adagio in watching the seahorses. With a giggle, Trixie innocently pointed out something that Adagio was painfully aware of. "That orange one kind of looks like you, Dachi." Adagio stared at the miniature doppelganger, transfixed by the uncanny coincidence, and said nothing. She could swear it was staring back at her, noticing the same thing about her as she did about it. In that moment, the two marine creatures regarded the other as grim reflections of themselves, profane, twisted versions of their images. There was an unspoken understanding between them, as Adagio waded through primordial desires to return to the seas. "Dachi, you okay?" Thinking out loud, Adagio asked Trixie a question without a filter. "All these fish, do you think they ever miss the ocean?" She could feel Trixie shrugging. "They were probably born here. So they've never known anything else, and this confinement is their home that they have come to accept. But still, do you think they ever desire more than these tanks? Deep down, there's probably some instinct that calls them to the sea, the open water, freedom." Trixie looked around and scratched her cheek. "I mean, they're just fish. I don't think they really care. They get fed and don't have to worry about getting eaten or anything. Are you okay?" Adagio closed her eyes, not wanting to succumb to the tears that threatened to pour out. After a deep breath, Adagio looked at Trixie, gazing deep in her violet eyes, finding peace in Trixie's eyes. The tears were dammed back up, and a genuine smile found her. "I have a lot on my mind, and this stuff, marine life, the ocean, and even the smell of salt water, it's complicated." "Is it like some good stuff and some bad?" Adagio smiled at Trixie's emotional intelligence. Very much so. Let's find a place to sit and talk. She and Trixie wandered down the halls until the tank gave way to a concrete ceiling. Around the next corner was a bench, across from a window, next to a glowing blue tank of jellyfish. So they sat down next to each other. In the silence that followed, Trixie prompted, So, what's on your mind? How do I even start? I want to be honest with her, but I can't tell her everything yet. Adagio contemplated her words carefully. So, one of my sisters. Trixie was confused for a moment. You have sisters? Apparently that detail had slipped her mind to mention before. Aria and Sonata. I'm the oldest sister. I could have sworn I mentioned that at some point. Adagio smiled sheepishly as she rubbed the back of her neck with her right hand. Trixie pondered, seeming to recontextualize what she knew about her date with ease. I guess it makes sense now that I think about it. They get on your nerves because you're family. Trixie is an only child, but she's heard that siblings have that dynamic. Adagio pieced together a puzzle that had been confounding her in her spare time. Oh, so that's who that boy in the photo was. Adagio let out a nervous chuckle as she got her thoughts back on track. So, Aria mentioned something about our old lives, living by the sea. So I'm a bit homesick. And being around all this stuff is bringing back good memories, but also the sadness of what I'm missing. I see. I'm sorry you're feeling homesick. Trixie laced her fingers in Adagio's and managed to smile. Thank you for telling me, and I'm glad you asked me to come with you. This fish stuff is important to you, so it's important to me, even if I don't have that much connection to the ocean. Trixie seemed to know exactly what to say to make Adagio feel understood. Something else is that, because of where we came from, and how we've been sticking together all this time, my sisters have been everything to me. We played together, we fought together, and everything we do as a team. So that's why I'm not great with, emotions, intimacy, certain cultural stuff that we didn't have back home. This whole relationship thing, the fun we've been having, and how you make me feel, it's all so new to me. So, I guess, thank you, Trix, for being patient with me and showing me so much. Dashi. Trixie caressed Adagio's cheek, causing Adagio to close her eyes, place a hand over Trixie's, and nuzzle her against her soft skin. I kind of get how you feel, because this is all new to me too. This is my first relationship too. I didn't really know I liked girls. But I like you. And that's what matters. All I know is that whenever I think of you, my heart is a bass drum with a double-kick pedal. Adagio met Trixie's sentimental eyes and earnestly said, When I'm with you, I feel like a stranger in a brand new world, living a life I've never lived before. This feeling was perfect, sitting there, surrounded by the cool, comforting blue light of the water, seeing the ocean in Trixie's skin and hair, being close enough to feel Trixie's breath with her hand still cupping Adagio's soft cheek. Leaning in closer just seemed right. There was a quick, surprised gasp before their lips met, with Trixie soon melting into Adagio's arms, far from the first kiss Adagio had given, but the first one that she had really meant, and the passion was returned tenfold. In this moment, everything felt perfect, and nothing could. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Adagio's eyes shot open. That voice. Normally, public displays of affection were nothing to either of them, but hearing that voice nearly made Adagio freeze. Trixie seemed to also be alarmed by that voice, but that was not surprising. Fluttershy? Adagio followed Trixie's eyes to gawk at the pale girl with pink hair, who looked like she was about to be hit by a truck. Sorry, I was on my way to the petting tanks, I swear. I'm just gonna go now. Seemingly more afraid of them than Adagio was of being caught by any of the rainbooms, Fluttershy quickly ran past them to get to the next area. Trixie scoffed. What a way to kill the mood. Now she's going to tell her friends about this. I guess we should have picked a better spot if we wanted privacy, right, Daji? Adagio shook her head and looked into Trixie's eyes. What do we do about her? Trixie sighed. If we confront her, it might just make it worse. If we act like nothing's wrong, maybe schmooze her up a little. We can do some damage control. Adagio shuddered as the word trolled up memories. Schmooze. Huh? What's wrong? Was it something I said? Nothing, babe. I think it's a great idea. We just have to show her that we're such great girlfriends. Come on. I want to see this petting tank. Coaxing her girlfriend to her feet, Adagio led them both in the direction of the timid rainboom. Trixie spoke up urgently. Oh, wait. Before we go do that, there's something I wanted to tell you. Adagio stopped, turning to look Trixie in the eye as the blue girl mustered the courage to say what was on her mind. I love you, Daji. You love me. Unable to think with her heart pounding so hard, Adagio threw her arms around her girlfriend, hiding her goofy smile and her teary eyes. Holding her tight, Adagio emitted with joy. I love you too, Trix. Hi, it's me, Bunny. So, Thursday is closer to the schedule than Friday. I don't have much to say otherwise. I'm thinking I might be able to get an empathetic heart out on Saturday, but, fingers crossed, this. Besides that, hopefully I will be able to get chapter 4 out on Tuesday. Anywho, bye!